second time it's important to remember they have never answered the substantive disadvantage whatsoever. Means a vote for the affirmative equals a vote for extinction. This should make it a lot harder for you to include the any value to life arguments. Our calculation could concede a lot of reason why extinction outweighs all their offensive arguments.
The reason why extinction doesn't outweigh because there would be no value to life in a world in which we postpone all ethical and moral considerations.
And they say it's not political action. That feeds our Togerson argument that says the failure to embrace in politics causes totalitarianism.
And they say that the failure of politics is totalitarianism. We solve the totalitarianism impacts because we reopen the sphere of the political and don't let it merely be used as technocratic rule. Our 1AC Zimmerman evidence is phenomenal about the ways that authoritarianism is institutionalized through technology.
To send our second argument to double bind this option to absolute solvency takeout. They don't use political action as a route. They use political action as a route to indicate rethinking.
Their next argument is that we use political action as a route to rethinking, which takes out our paradox argument, but our McWhorter evidence smokes theirs. It is the part of the book that is after the cards that they read. The political action is part of the paradoxical strategy that we solve. Doing nothing is not enough.
Number 5 argument, there's Zimmerman impact is terrible. Extended arguments use value consideration of magnitude, and that existence outweighs being because it's the only way we can engage in meditative actions is if we're alive, and that there's always a value to life. We'll set the value of life at 100%, which means that our DAs outweigh your arguments. And
they say our Zimmerman evidence is terrible, but the ontological damnation evidence indicates that the closure of life would be made possible by through the ontological damnation, that there would be no value to life.
Extend our Harvard nuclear study group that indicates you have to evaluate considerations of relative probabilities in order to stay above actual nuclear war, which means you have a nuclear war DA to your framework.
The only argument they have here is that we must have considerations of probability, but they have conceded our Beck evidence, which indicates that risk mediation is just another form of technological moralization because it creates a mathematical system of ethics whereby you are a ratio calculating processor.
Extend our moral blindness arguments. They concede our Adkins evidence, which indicates ethic outweighs ontology, which means there's no propensity for the ontology arguments now.
They extend their moral blindness argument, but they have conceded our Campbell-Dillon evidence, which indicates that working against technology is ethical because it opens up the sphere of the political. That's the argument I was making above.
They extend our Latour evidence. This will literally win us the round automatically. They've conceded our evidence as saying accepting the possibility that ontological value can ever reach a 0 point. It causes that to happen. They are elite in the 1 in our label. This argument is a reason why they could be voted against anyway, because the only way that their impacts in the 1AC can happen is in the world of the affirmative.
They extend their Latour evidence about the forgetting being, but there's no impact to this evidence articulated in the 2N. Our argument is that it's a matter of an incorrect interpretation of being imposed through the technological mode of being.
They can't access meditative thought. The implications are when there's an alternative to capitalism offensive arguments. Even they win those arguments, capitalism is here to stay because nothing about their affirmative engaged in meditation. The beast point is there is zero solving.
They say we can't access meditative thought, but we are not coercing you to use your ballot. It is merely an endorsement.
Senator Solinsky evidence also that the evil exists outside in the world.
They say that people are evil, but they have not impacted this anywhere in the rest of the debate. Now the counterplan.
The counterplan. They say that the market's root of technology and the value means you can't escape. We create a right to pollute. These arguments beg the question of whether or not our counterplan reconfigures capitalism. You have no answer still to Hawkins' law of incentive indicates that some form of involvement transforms capitalism away from the way that Saunders thinks that capitalism functions.
At the top of the debate, our Spalding evidence indicates the right to pollute is codified in the market mechanism. The counterplan.
They say Spalding evidence indicates the right to pollute, but we contend pollution with fines, which means it harms that they compile in the world of the affirmative.
Make no mistake, the right to trade admits the right to control the resources of nature. It is a relationship of conquest and dominance that further props up the technological logic of managerialism. There's an external impact here in the form of our Dillon evidence, which I've explained on the case debate, which indicates that devaluation leads to the 0 point of the Holocaust.
We create an ethic of care of capitalism, which should arguably better than
what they transform capitalism into is a system of commensuration where everything necessarily has an equivalent value and can be traded on a market system. This is a form of alienation that will spill over into issues of the environment where we can begin to calculate and assign value to everything, including Klinger's dog.
They see me destroy the environment because they would trade away a dog. The way that this analysis really makes down with the status quo would kill my dog, and the counterplan means that we have the right to own it. The plan would ban the ownership, and everyone would have to share the dog with them, and I would hate that.
Now the economy just said. Capitalism is a system that props up the logic of the technological system. We have multiple warrants for this argument. Little a, the 1AC Zimmerman evidence indicates that people are thrown into an ontological understanding of industrial production, which ensures a technological mode of being.
They say that capitalism is type of coercion. Our evidence indicates that capitalism is ultimate freedom.
They say capitalism is ultimate freedom, but we are ciphers in industrial production.
So technological progress is key to survival. That's our gross evidence. Our Lewis evidence indicates that the only way to innovate and solve environmental harms. It's the only way to solve environmental in other countries. That's our Hollander evidence.
And they say technological progress is good, but this evidence is terrible. Our 1AC evidence, specifically the Beckman evidence, indicates that technological progress has only resulted in the conversion of the Earth into a Titanic factory, which has led to a process of annihilation.
They say we put a price on the quality of life, but you waste life, which is the worst option because you cause annihilation. Our Shockel evidence indicates you cause the destruction of the planet. They say that ethic of care is limited, but they have conceded that capitalism creates a better quality of life.
They say that capitalism leads to a better quality of life and an ethic of care, but capitalism only leads to a system of commensuration where everything can be assigned an equal value, and then some things can be devalued when they do not fit into the productive imperative.
And it also creates a financial incentive to care to others, which means it forces an ethic of care, which means it overcomes the problems inherent in our Solinsky evidence.
The ethic of care argument is also turned by a Stenstad evidence, which indicates that it's only by engaging in meditative and phenomenological thinking that we can engage in an ethic of care.
They extend their Santos evidence. However, they concede that there's a low probability of collective suicide, which means since you've also conceded that we should evaluate relative probabilities, that there's no way you can access this argument.
They attempt to take out our Santos evidence, but they don't have. But our Santos evidence is good on the collective death right argument.
Also extend our trainer evidence indicates individualism can't possibly resolve the problems with capitalism, which there's no alternative to the system anyway, so none of these arguments are offense. They're just non-unique observations about the impact or disadvantage of them. They've also conceded that our Musso evidence, RGB's Musso evidence indicates capitalism facilitates worldwide peace, which means there's no collective suicide. You've conceded the full weight of our dissent, which means it's guaranteed as far as debate is concerned. It also doesn't answer the subject component. It also extend our Lewis evidence, our Rogers evidence, and our Quine evidence, which indicate capitalism strengthening. Our Gilpin evidence indicates it's sustainable in the status quo, which means that humanity has control over capitalism right now. This is dependent on you winning. That ontology should outweigh anyway because your impacts are all around ontology. However, they over-explain how there is no one root cause of violence that exists inevitably, and that's why the United States has to maintain its hegemonic control. Look, there's just too many concessions in this debate impact for them to win. The impact to our DA is nuclear, which causes extinction right now. This debate's over.